Hi there, we're with the SUI Wyckoff Weekly, and excuse me, today uh, we're looking at what stages SUI is currently at under the Wyckoff lens, and then also the price levels, key price levels, resistance and support that we should observe, and lastly, obviously, the price and volume actions, what are they telling us? So let's dive right in. We're looking at the weekly chart. Usually I start with this if you have been with me for a while already. We're currently after last point of supply, so I mentioned many times we've got all these Wyckoff tags like buying climax, up first after distribution, last point of supply. To me, all of them are basically tests of demand. If there's sufficient demand, there's a higher peak. There's insufficient demand, there's a lower peak. So don't fixate on how we name these peaks. They're all tests. That's how I look at them. So even after a high point, there may be an even higher point if there's sufficient hype or people just love it too much at that moment in time. People are very excited, they had a lot of beer and wine. That can happen. So the key point is there's sufficient demand. That's it. Like over here, people may be buying the dip and boom, push it all the way up. However, back to the stages, after 6 consecutive red candles, 6 weeks, the volume seemed to be coming down a little. That may be a relieving sign for some. Maybe we're getting to a point similar to here, the yellow line at around $2.36. That's a very key support level. If we extend it all the way to those areas like sign of weakness, as well as the preliminary supply area before the price got into the peak of the distribution cycle. So this is one of the first key level we have to focus on. If the price really continue to come down, it may bounce a little at that level. So however, bounce doesn't mean it will close there. Look at this candle here. So if I just zoom in and focus on that particular candle. So the price came down at around the yellow line. Obviously it shot up. You see this high point right over here at around $2.85 roughly. But then that particular week it already came back down to the yellow line level and closes at the line roughly. So that's what I'm trying to get to. Even if it bounces, be cautious. It can be as short-lived as it can just within a week, and then it come back down to between the yellow line and the white line. So two key levels over here for support. One is here at around $2.35. The second would be $1.87 roughly, because it can shoot below, but then eventually closed above. So roughly around $1.80, I would say. If we look at the daily chart, I have talked about support, but to mention resistance as well. This purple line is still there, $3.40 roughly, and then the green line, $3.80. So 40 cents gap. That's basically this purple is from the automatic response. That's the low point after like coming down from the buying climax. So the green line over here is basically where the buying climax was. So those are the 4 key price levels or resistance support levels that we have to look at. And back to the daily chart, a more micro view. If you were in my earlier sessions for Chainlink, AVAX, and Stellar, they look very similar. We're basically within this downward trend, this blue box. It's also a playground zone in a sense, but then it's much shorter or much younger playground zone compared to this pink. The white one, the long-term playground zone, is obviously the old man. So this blue one, this very young kid over here, started somewhere around second week of May, and then we're roughly 6 weeks, 5 to 6 weeks into it now. It broke out roughly for 3 days and then returned last Friday on the 13th. Now it's continuing its downward trend over here. So one thing we have to observe is whether the price will come down to test this lower boundary. If it happens in the next 2 days, it will be around $2.34, 35 cents roughly. If it doesn't, if it goes outside of this box, that means if it trades this way, there's a possibility, or like it may be telling us a story that this box has changed and we may be having a horizontal box. Something like this. But it's going to take a few more days before we can confirm that. If it does continue to come down, you can see this yellow support line that we already covered earlier in the weekly chart, right? So that's around $2.34. There is a point where we've got this triangle over here, the top line of the blue box crossing the yellow line. So that's a potential breakout area. That's around like getting near to the end of the month, this month, or the beginning of next month. So pay attention to what's going to happen in the next 2 weeks basically. So that's it for SUICon. Thanks for joining me today. Tomorrow we'll have Hedera, Polkadot, Uniswap, and Aave. So this is a new schedule. Check my post. I've posted it over there. I've changed it from a weekly, like single day 13 live sessions to a daily 4 sessions a day. So thanks for joining me again. Thanks for your support.